Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection. Bring you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the chosen one of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who thinks the best route through an asteroid field is a straight line, Keith.
Hello.
And the one who never has a good time in Zero G, Liz.
Hey guys.
And this week, I picked the game. I wanted to mix up the genres a little bit because we have not done this type of game. So I decided that we check out Chorus. Chorus is brought to you by Deep Silver Fish Labs. Chorus is a third-person space sci-fi shooter where you are taking control of Nara, who is brainwashed when she was younger from a extreme fanatic cult and ended up murdering an entire planet. But of course, she finally realized the wrongdoing she's doing and is trying to fight back and take down the cult that brainwashed her. But going around, Liz, was this a game or a pass for you?
Oh, jeez.
I wanted to know. You seem flip-floppy this week.
I was very flip-floppy. Gameplay-wise, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. You know, I hate being in space. And then you combine shooting. But the story, I was originally, surprised and, on board with it. I think they went about it the wrong way. And so the story-wise, I'm going to give it a game overall, but I think they messed up the story.
What about you, Keith?
I kind of didn't know what to expect because I didn't quite know. I know you said like, oh, we haven't played one of these, and I tell it was space, whatever. But I thought there was some out-of-ship combat, some in-ship combat, blah, blah, blah. All I'd say is I was pleasantly surprised. I found myself really, really enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, I was really surprised how far you got. I was really curious how both of you guys would enjoy this game because I love space shooters. It's kind of I kind of feel like it's a dying genre, but there's always been such great classic games, Star Wars TIE Fighter, classic Rogue Squadron, Nintendo 64, Star Lancer on the Dreamcast, Star Wars Jedi Knight Fighter, which I think was on the original Xbox. But there's not a ton of these kind of space sci-fi shooter games, but I love them so much. So when I saw this, I saw a lot of people saying that this game was a lot of fun. So I decided to check it out. And yeah, this is a game for me. I think Chorus is a lot of fun. I think it has a very slow beginning, but every time this game introduces a new ability, I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. And instantly I just get more excited. And then, I'd start to get a little, okay, this is a little repetitive. Then a new ability gets introduced and I'm like, yeah. So yeah, this is a fun game. But yeah, so the story of Chorus, as I said, you are taking control of this character named Nara, who originally was in this cult, and she ended up opening a rift that ended up consuming a planet and killing billions of people. She ended up turning against the cult and abandoning her friends and essentially her home, and she's now in hiding, working as a scavenger. But the cult, being a cult, is spreading throughout the galaxy and eventually find their way to the system that she's been hiding in. And she realizes that there's no way to hide from the cult and that, if she ever wants to live, she needs to take down the cult. So she recruits her trusty talking spaceship and takes to the skies and starts blowing up the cultists. But so Liz, you had some issues with the story.
Yes. First things first, I didn't like when they revealed that Nara killed billions of people because I think it was too soon. They did it right at the beginning.
Oh, you would have liked it as a midway bomb?
But yes, because, because they
cool.
said that most people didn't know that her ship was a cultist ship. There was so many things they could have done. And so you have this character who killed billions of people. And to put that in perspective, when it comes to cults, there are plenty of people who are born and raised into cults and they're told to do bad things that aren't murder and they don't do them and they leave. I don't want to hear that, oh, she was, raised in the cult. That's not an excuse. But you look at not Marilyn Manson. You look at Charles Manson. His followers killed a pregnant woman and I think 6 other people. And it shocked the world. It people could not believe that somebody could do something like that, especially to a pregnant woman. Billions like that's why I don't think like the people that created, I think billions is too big of a number for them to understand the impact that would have, because I just don't think that it came across that way. And so for me, and also she was just brooding and moping. Listen, you deserve that. I don't deserve to hear you complaining, oh, woe is me. No, this is your issue, not mine. And same with I know, Andrew, you didn't see this, but
List of therapists here. You would be a terrible therapist. I don't want to hear your problems, man.
I would be great in criminal justice because she would not be flying free, I tell you what. But anyways, so Andrew, you never saw Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No. It reminded me of a character, Angel. Wait, Keith, do you see Buffy?
No, I'm aware of it.
Oh,
aware of the cultural phenomenon that is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All he did was brood and mope, and I was over it. This woman, I don't feel bad for her. And so that's why I think that they should have done it midway or later in the game. Actually make me like this person and then do it. Because going into it, you all know that I get feisty when it comes to justice.
No.
And so for me,
nobody can tell that right now.
I can't muster the sympathy or empathy, whatever it is, for this person when you just they killed billions of people. It's Hitler killed X, I forget the exact number or whatever, or amount of...
Over 5 million?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's no, but he did something good. It's no, I already learned about Hitler. I can't go back. So for me, this is just I know that this is a character flaw of mine, not a personal flaw. I'm not a character, but I know that I'm flawed, but it really irritated me to the point where I hated this woman. I was I don't want to see a face. But I know that you guys probably feel different.
So I wanted to touch on something you said though, because you talked about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you described his character Angel, and then you just completely blew past the fact that Angel had his own show, and did he not? Wasn't the show Angel a spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Angel?
He did, but you learn about his past and everything on Buffy. I mean, I'm sure they did on Angel too.
See, that's where I don't know. I just had I
they go more into detail. And you're not going to watch Angel if you haven't watched Buffy, because obviously Angel wasn't as good. So for me, it's whoever watched Angel has watched Buffy. And if that's not the case, please tell me, because that blows my mind.
Well, you're not going to be playing Chorvs or Chorus, but I'm going to call it Chorvs if Nara didn't kill billions of people.
It's spelled Chorvs.
But really though, on a serious level, I can see where you're coming from, and I don't know. There's definitely something weird about her. I think as a whole, where the game's biggest flaw is the writing of the dialogue. It's not even necessarily the story, and not that I was all into the story. I largely followed it, but wasn't my highlight. But it was the dialogue. It was the writing of. I mentioned it to Andrew when I was starting out. There's this point where one of your friends is off in danger somewhere, and everyone's in a panic. And we always joke in video games that the world is burning down somewhere, but I'm going to go and collect 10 apples or something. And it's a little bit of that, but at the same time, it's oh my God, she's in danger. We need to get out there. And you just go, oh no. And that's all your character says. It's just something so flat, dry, no urgency behind it. And it just felt I don't know. The writing was so poor that I didn't really care what anybody was saying so much. I liked the cutscenes and I liked what they were trying to build with the overall story. But I thought all of the characters just about were very flat and boring. I thought the most interesting character in the whole entire game was the AI Forsa. Everyone else was kind of ugh. They just all stunk.
Is Forsa Forsaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone online is that's the best character in the game.
Yeah,
and like you said,
he definitely was.
Your main character in Nara, she's fighting back against the cult. She's doing this, but she kind of sucked. She wasn't a good person. Forza, he did bad things too, but Forza was still more of a product, a machine, a weapon, who was used for these terrible things. And it's also how he's
I
built.
understand that. Yeah, like I don't understand like how much of him has feeling, because he obviously felt betrayed when she abandoned the ship. And I mean, she tried to lie and say that she was going to come back, but then she finally admitted like, no, I wasn't going to come back for you. So
Yeah, she's
for
a
me, it's
liar,
just like,
too.
I don't understand that. Yeah. I see. I'm trying not to get sassy about her.
But she learns that what she was doing was wrong. So okay,
It took 8 billion people for her to realize what she was doing is wrong. Or no, it's not, wait. It took billions of lives for her to figure out that she was doing something wrong.
But you also do learn that the cult is essentially trying to destroy the universe. So even though she killed billions of people, she's trying to save the universe. So in the end, though, she is saving more than she killed. But you are kind of learning of, like, there is another evil force out there that literally feeds and controls off of everything that humanity suppresses. So it exemplifies...
I sure hope you're going to
But
edit
was she
yourself
being
for
controlled?
spoilers there, Andrew.
No, because this really
I'm
is
just
much
saying,
of a
you're
spoiler, 'cause-
always on Liz about spoilers.
Thank you,
Here
Keith.
you
I
are
appreciate that.
talking about, well, here's what really ends up happening, and this is why. But it's not a spoiler. It's just something they tell you at the last, 10 minutes of the game.
Okay, fine.
But I don't think she was forced though. Because she said that she hesitated, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think,
I
no.
thought you-
I didn't, I mean, I
I
don't
thought you said
remember
at the
that
beginning.
cutscene,
I could be wrong.
but I don't think so. I
But
think
she
it was
wasn't
more
forced,
she
though,
did
right?
it and then realized what she had done and was like, oh. Like almost like she snapped
Like,
with it.
yeah.
And you're right, it doesn't justify her bad actions, but I do think that it's a cult. There's some brainwashing involved, and it's not okay. But I mean, I don't know. I think she still can.
Yeah.
You can. I guess my thing is she can still do good things despite the bad thing that she did. It doesn't make up for it. It
Yeah.
doesn't make it okay. It doesn't necessarily even make her a good person. But you are absolutely able to do good things and make better after being wrong.
But what about after this, though? What about after? Is she going to have kids and go on vacation? Like, no, she should just be
Taking them to Disney
No
World.
vacation time for you.
Yeah, no, she should not. Like, and for me, that's why, like, I felt like the ending was going to go in two ways. One, which is the way that should have gone, if for like what I'd be like a happier ending, is if she sacrificed herself to save the world, and then good riddance to her.
Spoiler alert now.
I don't know the ending.
Oh,
Or
okay.
and I figured the other way is going to go. It was like a cookie cutter, like, oh, let's forgive her. And it's just like, no. If someone told me that they murdered 1 billion people, 2 billion, whatever the amount on the planet, no, I wouldn't want to be friends with them. And I think that, like, this is just very, like, I just don't get it.
So-
Once you find out, would you be friends with someone if you found out they killed?
Probably not.
But what
So
if it
I
was
just
only
think it's funny,
millions?
Like,
Honestly, I wouldn't be friends with somebody if I learned that they had fun kicking cats. Like, I'm not gonna be friends with that person either. There's certain
well, that
boundaries
person's
that I
unrepentant.
have.
What if someone was like, I kicked cats, but I feel totally bad about it, and I'm going to open an animal shelter?
That's different because I
Yeah,
mean,
because they're asking for forgiveness.
no, because the cat's not dead.
Okay.
And also, they can give that cat the best life.
So if they
ever.
said they killed a couple cats, but they would now want to open an animal shelter.
No,
cat
I
shelter.
wouldn't. No, a couple, more than one. No, they didn't stop after the first one. No. I mean, the one cat, and it was like 10 years ago, and they open animal shelters and stuff. I don't know. When it comes to crime and doing bad things to people, like human traffickers, I have zero forgiveness.
Hear me out. Let's take out the billions.
I was,
Okay,
gonna say,
okay.
I was wondering if you're going to defend human trafficking here, Keith.
No, not human trafficking.
Hold on. Let me ask about human trafficking.
She destroyed one planet. She saved potentially millions of other planets.
Yeah.
So,
But like I said, if
you kick one
if you killed
cat
10
and then you open up
cats-
10 animal shelters. Okay, we're okay.
No.
You kill one planet, you save millions of others.
No, because the cat's not dead. It's all about the cat not being
You
dead.
said kill one cat
And-
10 years ago and open a bunch of animal shelters.
I
and you're
said
good.
I would think about it, but you're talking billions of people.
No,
You're
I'm not talking about billions of people. I'm talking about one planet.
No, you said a planet,
One planet.
which is
One
filled
planet.
with billions of people.
And there's billions
If
of
you
people
just-
on all those other millions of planets.
But it doesn't negate the billions.
What if that planet was like really known for being racist?
Oh, that's a good point. What if
Like they were just known as like the really racist planet?
But you know, where do you stop? Where do you stop killing people for their beliefs? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you say like, they're racist. Let's kill them. And it's just like, well, you know what? They don't like butter on their toast. They like jam. We need to get rid of them.
What if
like,
it was
where
just
does this
known
stop?
to be a really crappy place?
Like, what if they like
really
pineapple
bad.
on pizza? Actually, I like pineapple on pizza, but still,
Yeah,
what if they just did some really horrible things on that? But what if they were human traffickers?
What if it was a planet that was full of cat killers?
By the way, I brought up human traffickers because I'm saying across the board there's certain crimes and I'm just like, no, you're done. There's nothing going on in that heart of yours.
This planet was known for killing cats. The entire planet was just known for killing cats. What about that?
We kill cows on. You know what I mean? Like, what's
cows?
What?
We eat cows.
I'm sure there's somebody who's eating a cat.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
There,
I mean,
but there are
like
pet chickens. There are pet cows.
Eating bats or something, right?
There are
true.
people who have pets that are cows and pigs and see meat eaters as evil. I'm not saying I'm not getting into my opinions on that, but what I'm saying is, like, when it comes to animals, I mean, where do you draw the line if you eat meat? That's a slippery slope. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Do I think killing cats is wrong? Yes, I think it's wrong. I don't like that. I wouldn't be friends with a cat killer.
Okay. Cat killers out there, do not try to friend request Liz. So she will.
I mean, you can still not like cats. That's fine. I'll be friends with somebody if they don't like cats. That's their business.
But if you kill them, you are getting blocked.
I don't like fire ants. Like if someone like really likes fire ants, I mean,
Thought I would be interested if someone's really into fire ants. But I also just look like Liz of like your idea of, oh, you know, she saves the universe. I could just imagine being like, okay, here's a contract that you have to sign. You can have no friends, no vacation time. You must work all the time. It just, he has to fill this ridiculous contract. Expecting kids? Nope, that's in the contract. Not having kids, not getting married. Is that what you're expecting? That she just signed some sort of contract that she can't be happy?
That would not be my choice for her.
Winter Soldier was working for Nazi Germany. But, you know. Now he's an Avenger.
I don't know anything about the Avengers.
I mean, heck, I think Albert Einstein was a Nazi at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But, so what would you expect? Like, hey, you saved the universe. Well, time to get executed. And they just shoot her and kill her.
I mean, because of the work that she did do, I mean, being a prisoner to the system and doing their work and still being able to be out and about, like shooting bad guys and stuff.
So she's like an unpaid cop. You want her to be?
Yeah, with no time off.
All right.
I don't know. I personally,
don't get me wrong. I feel like this character would want that because she even says at one point, one of the dialogues she says is, "I am beyond redemption, but not retribution." See, so even she says she's not, like, she's unforgivable.
But that's the thing. When I hear stuff like that, then I start to feel bad. And I like things black and white. I don't want to feel like... but that's the thing. Like, a death penalty, I don't know. I do... When you said that, I don't like that you said that. Because now I'm like... now there's a gray area. I'm like, maybe she should do some prison time. Or maybe that... But I mean, like, but if somebody out there had like a friend or family member that was on that planet, I don't think that they would want that. Like, you know what I mean?
But that's the whole purpose of this game too. She's not seeking forgiveness. She meets survivors and she says, like, I don't expect you to forgive me. Like, that's not what I'm seeking. I'm seeking just to help, and I'm seeking to end like the evil that's going on.
Because honestly, the worst punishment for her would be the guilt.
Yeah,
and I know that as well.
In which that's what she's like struggling with the entire game, which I do agree. It kind of gets a
little. But I also
whiny.
feel like that's why I feel like this isn't believable, because I don't think that somebody capable of killing, however many billion people, is going to feel bad. How can you think of all those like kids and grandparents and cats? and do that and then be like, oh, do you know, I feel guilty now. That's why I don't think I can really wrap my head around this character, and I don't understand it, and I think it's unbelievable. Yeah. So, but again, like I know I'm judgy about it. I did have a story question though.
Okay.
So there's when I was playing, something weird happened with is it Ray or Ree? R-E-E? Ree. When it comes to her, there was something like not suspicious, but something weird that came up with her. And then she started talking to her, but then I guess I drove too closely to, a quest and it cut off the dialogue. Did something happen with her? Is she good? Is she bad?
She's good.
Okay, because I was confused because it got to a point where just like something weird had happened with her and I was like, oh, is she a bad guy? And it just cut out and I was like, oh, I guess I won't know.
I will say I caught the weird vibe at the beginning that there was something weird about Sav. Like she was just always like who is Ree's husband, and she would just kind of always be very like I don't know, it was like guarded about everything he said. But I don't know. At the same time, everything they indicate is he was a good person and Ree is a good person. And
there's side quests. So I'll probably just edit this out so I can tell you guys. So you find out that
I probably did that and just didn't catch it because I wasn't paying attention.
And even too later on, you even kind of
okay.
But yeah, I'll edit that out. So yeah, there's some stuff to that, Keith. But I wanted to go back to what kind of what you said, Keith, and I fully agree. My biggest complaint is how flat these characters are because no one gets out of a ship. The only time the cutscenes you see a person, you see Nara, and it's when she's usually getting a right, and she's walking through a corridor, and it's just usually her. Most of the dialogue you see a portrait picture of a person talking. And only a handful of people have human faces. 90% of the portraits you see are people with helmets. So people are legitimately faceless characters. So I agree with you, Keith. I had no connection with any of these people.
I didn't even think about that, but you're 100% right. That it's just like, it's very, like, not natural when you just kind of...
They look like robots.
Pull up and like, well, there's that. And it's weird, like... How many games or RPGs, I guess, where you can be in dialogue and you just kind of run in circles around them while they're talking to you or you're talking to them? But I don't know, something about just being in a spaceship while you kind of float around and like drift away from them as they're talking to you or vice versa. It just seems weird. Like more of them should be even just brief cutscenes of like you walking onto their ship. Like just give me that. Like cut to me walking to the ship and then the ships parked next to each other while I hear the dialogue or something. Even if
or have the portraits animated. Because even then the portraits aren't animated.
No,
so
they just do the weird,
it'll just be their picture going like if they're dying, and it's just like okay.
Yeah, they just put like a weird fuzz so it like gives it some animation. But yeah, there's nothing to it. I was thinking really more about the dialogue, but that whole piece of it as well just adds another layer of like zero depth.
So I know this probably goes against the vibe of the game, but I mean, that's the thing that I didn't like. But I was wondering, do you guys think that it would be better if there was like humor or like, I also like these people going around not listening to music, not like, I feel like if you're in like a really dark situation, there needs to be somebody that's cracking jokes. And so for me, it just
I know you killed a billion of people, but
nobody knows that. No, nobody knows that. What do we mean? It's going across
the planet you killed. I'm 100 million dead babies, and they're all by your hand.
But for instance, like Ree could have been maybe like they could have made her a funny character or something. You guys don't think it needed some comic relief? Because
no, I don't. Because this game was, and I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad they didn't because it's like.
You like the moping?
No, it's not that I like the moping, but I like a consistent like theme to a game. And I complain about it constantly. Is how many times games are like very serious, and then there's just someone throws in like a fart joke or something, and you're just like, well, where did that come from?
See, I love that.
Give me some. I mean, I love a good fart joke, true, but it just in a game like this where your main theme is that your main character is a mass murderer trying to redeem herself by killing the people who got her to kill billions of people. I wasn't looking for a laugh. Exactly.
Well, let me ask you a question that you kind of bring up, Keith. If you're driving a sentient vehicle, is it considered impolite to fart in them?
I mean, that's a very good question. I think it all depends. Is this like the weapon from Halo Infinite, where it's got sensors that it can smell, or is it just a computer program? Because if it's just a computer
Let's say
program,
like Optimus Prime. If you're driving an Optimus Prime, like
I don't know.
do you have
Can
to crack a
Optimus
window?
Prime smell? I don't know the physiology. Would that be physiology?
I guess, yeah.
I don't know the makeup of a transformer. I just know that it's Chuck and then it's a robot. I don't know what makes them tick. So
That's the thing too. Is your character going to the bathroom? Is she going to the bathroom in the spaceship?
doubtful. I don't know. How long does this game take place over? I mean, is it like a couple weeks? Do you do this in like 24 hours?
I'm sure she makes stops, you know.
I mean, you do go into the Haven every once in a while, but you never see her leave the ship.
That's true. Maybe she gets out and takes a little potty break when you go to upgrade your ship. But yeah, I don't think this game needed it. And honestly, I kind of liked the lack of music too. Maybe this is a little early, but I liked the lack of really a lot of music. Of just kind of you're floating through space. You hear your ship, you hear the other ships, you hear people talking, and that's it. In space, no one can hear you scream or something like that.
See, I just like I completely disagree. I feel like it needed something to break up like just her talking. And like but I think like too like I mean
Not just her talking, her whisper talking.
her like in her
voice.
thoughts. In her inner thoughts.
That got annoying.
No, but that's what I mean. Like I definitely feel like they needed something other than what she was providing.
Yeah.
Even if it was just someone who was like bubbly or like just something opposite of her, because I feel like it was just like one tone.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. Even with like movies and stuff, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't have to be humor, but it has to be something.
I kind of agree with it a little bit. Because like it was kind of annoying. Because like the inside voice was kind of getting annoying of her just being like, hey, I like telling a person, hey, I will do that thing. But their voice goes, but I really won't. Just like it was constant. Every time she was having some sort of dialogue, there would always have to be some sort of contextual whisper voice of, but not really, I'm not going to do that. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah, she kind of had the inner voice of a toddler. Like,
yeah, it was every time.
I will agree with that.
So I kind of agree. I probably would have enjoyed if maybe she did crack a joke. Because, I mean, there's a lot of times I crack a joke where I'm like, I should not say that out loud.
She could have dark humor.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in a dark place.
She's a dark, brooding person.
Yes, give me some dark humor, please. But I also wanted to ask you guys
Where's
with
another planet I could kill?
with the like it's the side quests and so not side quests. I think some of them were part of the main mission where you have to make choices because like when you go up to something, it'll like say you hit A to interact with whatever.
The mission, yeah.
Well, I was doing that and I didn't realize I was giving a choice. And I just hit A, and then like I looked and I was like, "Oh crap!" And I exited out of the game.
Do you
and
want
went
to
back
kill
in,
this
and
whole
then
second planet?
Oh,
well, no,
Liz,
I had to no, I had to.
Did you murder some kittens?
I had to redo so much because I exited out because I didn't want to kill somebody. I'm a decent person. I suffered
First
playing
said
more
yes,
of the
I will
game.
murder those kittens. Real life does not let you reload.
I know it was the one where you can either like kill or the pirates.
Yeah, spare the pirates or kill the pirates.
Yeah, and I was just like mashing, and I was like, "Oh crap, that was a decision." I went back and played so much of the game over again. The save's decent.
How convenient. So you're
but I didn't kill them. No,
you can
I did not kill them. I exited out before my character killed them. Actually, thank you very much. But I was just curious. Like, I mean, is there really, like, does it really affect it? Because, for instance, like, it was
the big picture, no, but the mission, yes.
Well, because it was like, oh, we really could have used those shields. Like, thank you. So, like, but I was wondering if like something bad happened if you don't keep the pirates. If it's harder. Or,
yeah, it's harder. You don't have a shield.
Or do people get mad at you or judge you?
For like, the mission.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say I usually just go, is there an achievement for it? No. All right, whatever. Do what I want. And in that case, yeah. I just kind of I just figured, yeah, they'll help us, and I don't know, if not, we'll blast them to bits too, and it'll just be one more ship I have to fight. But partly, maybe if I don't know if I'm transitioning too early to gameplay, but I wanted to fight more. That was all I wanted to do. So in a sense, I was hoping they were going to turn on me, and it was just one more big ship to fight.
When you learn how to teleport, that just changes the gameplay.
Every time you get a new ability, changes the gameplay. So, okay. So I really first want to ask you, Liz, because we've played a good amount of games where you are in 0G. where you are usually kind of floating around. And you have always talked about how much you hated those segments. So this entire game is essentially floating around in a spaceship. Did you actually like the gameplay?
Yeah,
I know
one
you
thing
struggled at first, right?
I actually think it's pretty noob friendly.
Oh.
One thing that I struggled with, and it's always in games like this, is how to get my plane not sideways when I'm just like drifting along. And so I'd hit left bumper, and sometimes it would level me out.
If you click right stick, it levels you out. You didn't know that?
No, it was bothering me too.
Ah.
It's like, yeah, it was really bothering me. Sometimes it would automatically do it, or like if I twirled around. I think like also with the scanning system, it makes it so much easier. There are some times where like I saw a package of credits, and it would be like kind of annoying to navigate in. I'd get it. I actually think that this is one of the easier flying games, and I thought that the combat... I played on easy, and I'm glad that I did, because there were some times where, before I got the teleporting, where I'd have to be stationary to really aim, so, and it didn't, like, penalize me too much. You said that it was a lot easier on easy. And
it was too easy. Watching you play on easy, I was like, this looks boring. Because literally no one shot you. Literally people are just floating around and you're just shooting targets. And I'm like, this is way too easy.
No, I felt like the difficulty spikes. It did vary a lot when I was playing. I mean, I did die. But there were times where, like, if there were, like, 6 regular enemies, no problem.
Yeah.
But it was more like when you get the ones with the shields and then, like, or, like, there's a big ship and, like, all the turrets are shooting you and the enemies. That's when, like, I didn't do as well. But it was easy, but I needed that because I didn't want to hate the game. Yeah. And playing on easy made me like it more.
What did you play on, Keith?
I think whatever the default was, so normal, I think.
Yeah, I did medium as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What I love about Chorvs is exactly what you said. Is it does something that we typically, at least I say we, I know me, and I think you've also complained about this, Andrew, is that it's you just got to play, 4 hours of this game and then it gets really good. Now, you do have to play like an hour or 2 maybe to get, I think, the first ability, the blink ability, and that is really where it gets good. I
thought it got good as soon as you got your ship. The drift ability to me was awesome.
That is true. That is nice. I just didn't feel like I had as much fun until I got the blink. And the thing is, it wasn't like I was even struggling to have fun before that. I was still enjoying it, and I think I agree with Liz. I think this is one of the more friendly, like, 0G control games we've played. I think by default it has quite a few accessibility options sort of on. Like one of them I actually notice is that basically the hitbox is you can adjust it to smaller or larger, and the default is the largest setting. So you actually have to turn it down if you want to make it more precise, but it actually gives you a pretty forgiving hitbox when you're trying to aim at enemies. And so if you're not great at the flying, it helps make up for that a lot. But you're so right, Andrew. It's just like every new ability made the game that much more fun, and I didn't find myself like, oh, now I'm only going to use this now because this is now the most powerful skill, or I'm only going to fight enemies that need this. I still found myself using blink and drift and all of the skills. It just becomes so much more of like a dance, but not in a Souls-like way, but just in like just so fun, smooth, rhythmic way.
Yeah, but my favorite, eventually you get the Rite of the Storm, which shoots a lightning and it disables people, and they literally drift in space, and you can actually have them drift into a wall and it's an instant kill. I had so much fun just doing that with people, like basically playing chicken, going head on someone, zapping them and watching them crash into a wall. It was so fun. But to explain a little bit more of the gameplay of Chorus, I guess too, hot tip, as Keith was kind of saying, keep doing the main missions until you get your ship, and then start doing the side quests, because the gameplay really opens up when you finally get your main ship. But Chorus is actually kind of an open world. You are actually in a relatively big asteroid field. There's side quests that populate the area, points of interest. There's little trinkets you can get that'll give you credits, in which you can spend at the store to upgrade your ship, get new weapons, get new abilities. So you have this kind of open area of what you want to do and how you can kind of play with it. But as I said, just keep doing the main missions until you get your ship, because then you get the drift ability. That's like your first ability, and it's a lot of fun. Essentially, you could be going forward, but you can rotate your ship's body backwards and shoot enemies that are like chasing you. It's just a ton of fun, and you could do some really cool, fun maneuvers with it.
I never got good at that.
It was so fun because I also loved being able to do it to like turn sharply, like you're heading into a wall and just drift and then just like boost the other direction. It's just really cool.
And I feel the ability it's what makes this so different than so many other games like it, is that so many
it's not
games
a generic shooter.
It goes on very much more realistic graphics or physics, and that's like, oh, you're going forward in space, you're going forward until you're basically not. This is like have some flexibility with it, and it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah. But the abilities in this game are just a ton of fun. So the game is actually relatively long. You're looking between 14 to 18 hours. And as I said, like when I first started playing this, I thought like, oh, this is just a generic space shooter, story about a cult, like, okay, whatever. And it's like, yeah, as soon as I got the ship and got that drift ability, I was like, okay, this is cool. But yeah, like you said, Keith, when you got that blink ability, I was like, this is awesome. It literally teleports you directly behind the target you're looking at, and it lines you up on a shot. So if you have a strong weapon, you can take them out in like one hit. So much fun. But I agree with what you said earlier, Keith. I wanted more fighting. There's just a handful of times where it had this big epic space battle of you fighting like a cruiser. And those are so much fun, but they were so short-lived and there wasn't enough of them. I wanted to fight bigger, badder ships, and like I wanted these bigger moments. There's a couple of moments where you have like your armada versus another armada, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I wish those moments were more in the game.
Yeah,
but for the most part, it's a lot of just little targets you're shooting here and there.
Like, well, and only like it's a very minor point, I guess, on there. But with those bigger battles, what was really fun about it is that some of the cult, like what the cult would do is they had mind control, and so they would start taking over portions of these stations that you were trying to defend or whatever it may be, and you could actually kill off the mind control, and then the turrets would start shooting at the enemies instead of shooting at you, or you could just destroy the turrets, and then they were useless for everybody. But I wanted to have more like strategy behind how I attacked those situations, just because it would have been more just another layer of fun.
Yeah, I wish there was more AI fighting with you. Like, I thought it would be cool to have like a squadron with you, and like I just wish there was like bigger space battles is my biggest thing. Majority of the time, you're kind of by yourself.
I don't know if I wanted like a big space battle. I kind of liked it the way that it was.
Really? You thought it was just perfectly paced?
Yeah, but I feel like it was because I don't really like space games that much that I liked that, I don't think I really wanted a big space battle. I wanted to ask so when you're going to buy stuff, I felt like playing easy, I had too much money where like I didn't really have like a lot of gun upgrades.
Yeah.
I was waiting for them to kind of come in. Yeah, because there's these things that you can buy for your ship. There's 3 slots, and they're all like level 1. So I went there a couple times throughout the game, and I was just like, there's nothing I want to buy.
It gets more stock, yes, eventually.
Yeah, like for instance, it'll have like a level 3 gun, or like it'll go up like that, but it took a long time for it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like if I'm going out of my way to get these extra credits, it's just like I want something to buy that will make that will make it more fun. Like I can really kind of like customize my ship or something.
Yeah.
So for me, like that, I think that would have been fun gameplay wise.
Yeah, I agree. I wish there was a little more customization with your ship, because you have these like 3 utility slots, and then you have 3 different weapons. You have a laser, a Gatling gun, and a missile launcher, which the missile's good against armor. Gatling gun's good against the hull. The laser's good against shields. So like you have these weapons that you can kind of quickly swap in the middle of a battle to try to take out the weaknesses of enemies. But I agree. I wish there was a little more customizations, because just those 3 slot things you have, like,
or make it so I can have more, like upgrade, and like so that's what I felt like was kind of missing. Where just like why even get the credits?
Yeah, because like some items have set bonuses of like, oh, if you like this is the Guardian set. If you have multiple pieces of the Guardian set, you get these perks. But I don't know. A lot of them were just kind of like, oh, these things work for the missile. Like it'll improve your missile launcher. But you're swapping between all your weapons so much that I never wanted to be like, oh, I'm only going to focus on the missile launcher, because you're not going to hot swap these things in the middle of a fight to just fight the few people with armor, and then, now I'm going to use my Gatling gun. Let me swap those items out. I don't know. Just the slot stuff, I do agree. I feel like the customization was kind of lacking. And the shop was a little underwhelming, but
Yeah,
the weapons themselves are fun.
Yeah, I kind of went with whatever set I had. Like I think I was using the wolf set by the end, or werewolf set.
Yeah, I like the wolf set.
Yeah, because like you said, I mean, I think it all upgraded the missiles, but I wasn't really worried about that. It was the extra perks that it gave me from the set that I was like, okay, and the weapon that came along with it was cool. But I kind of cut you off as you were saying it, but I agree where I think you were going with it is that the weapons are really cool in this game because of the fact that, yes, you have these 3 presets. And I guess a lot of games do this in some way. You know, you have 3 types of weapons and then different variations of them all. But I felt like they were all so different that aside from really like the power levels of them, I kind of liked playing with all of them for different reasons because they just all did different things and they were all fun.
Yeah. But they also like changed their style. So like the Gatling gun, for example, you know, it's like I said, it's good against killing hull. It's, you know, normally it's a generic Gatling gun, just shoots bullets, but like you can get variations of it. Like one of them I got was kind of a 3-round burst battle rifle. So it had better range. It hit harder, but it would overheat faster. Eventually I got another version where it was like essentially like a shotgun. It was super close range, but it would just shred anything that was close range. And the same with like the missile launchers will change. You know, basic missiles, or you could have it turn into a shotgun of clusters of missiles, or I think you can even do a mine one. There's one that can leave a radiation cloud. Like they have these different types of like how they'll work, and it always mixes up the gameplay. And that's what I think that really just impressed me with Chorvs or Chorvs is how just these small changes kept me going. Because when you think about it, like talking about the game now, it is a pretty repetitive. A lot of the side quests are a lot of the same things. You're kind of visiting relatively samey looking places, but just the abilities and the weapons, just I was having a ton of fun with.
Did you guys like the memories that you stumble upon?
No, they got a little annoying.
I felt like visually you didn't see enough, and then sometimes I kind of didn't really know what was going on, and I just kind of like. It was like, do I stay here? Because like the screen gets all like, what is it, blue and like, yeah. So for me, I felt like I wanted to see like like an image, I guess.
So like the memories, as Liz is saying, is essentially they're like audio logs that you find in just about any other game. They're these glowing orbs. You go up to them, you press A, your character sees a glimpse of the past of what happened here. But yeah, they're always stationary. It's always ships being stationary and talking. And I agree. Like, they just usually didn't give enough context. And once again, the people were faceless, and I didn't care. So you hear these stories of people getting attacked and dying, and I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah. Who is this faceless person? I don't know.
You know, it's a weird trade-off, though. And I don't know how much I appreciate this or not. Because you were talking about how sometimes you're just, going from point A to point B. Because I was thinking about it, and one of the things I didn't like is there's really not a lot of fast travel in the game. But
there is some.
Well, there is some, but I'm saying a lot. Like, in terms of, okay, I got to get from here to there. I can't just jump to this spot, and then I'm close enough that it's quicker. You just had to go from point A to point B for the most part, unless you were going to one of those jump spots.
Well, you could jump to a jump gate even if you're not going through a jump gate, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, unless I was in an area where I was like, oh, that thing is right next to the jump gate, I'll go to the gate and then I'll go there. But my biggest point is that what I think, or what I like the most is that there's no load times. And I'm on a Series X, so I don't know if it's doing it. But like, if you jump to another star section, doesn't load. If you die, no load screens. And I think that's because
there's some, but it's like it's quick.
Yeah.
When you're traveling, like you kind of see you warping through.
Yeah, and it kind of uses that as
quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess it uses that cutscene as the load time, but there's no actual like cut load screen that I can think of.
If you die, there's a little load time too.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's just it feels like you're just kind of always in the game, and I feel like I appreciated that, even though there was times where I'm just like, all right, well, that's 70 kilometers away. It's gonna take me at least a minute and a half. But you could typically just kind of go in a straight line, and then I could go grab a drink or a snack, and as long as I'm back in 30 seconds, I'm good.
But Keith, you mentioned that you enjoyed that there was kind of lack of music. I kind of disagree. Like, I enjoyed the ambiance that this game is going, but I would love some epic space battle music, like, going on. There's some, but it's not great. It's nothing I would be like, I need to listen to this on Spotify. I felt like they could have done a much better job conveying, like, epic space battles with the music.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think, I don't know, is that just because you're so accustomed to, say, like Halo, where you have a big space battle and
I was
you
gonna
have
say-
When
big
I'm
music
playing a
playing?
sci-fi
Yeah.
game, I'm expecting a big sci-fi opera.
I feel like that wouldn't have fit. I mean, I feel like I'm
Really?
disagreeing with you guys a lot on the music this episode, but it's just like, I mean, even with like the moodiness of the game, they didn't even really have anything that tried to make you feel sad, which I thought was interesting. Because I mean, the game is just dark. Her character is like miserable. They don't even have like music to make you feel more miserable. You know? Do you know how like if you're sad, you listen to sad music? So for me, I didn't understand like why it didn't go in that direction, but I feel like it would have been weird having like epic battle music.
It needs chanting monks. Let's be honest. If you're doing a space game, you need some chanting monks.
I don't know. I feel like the lack in music, it just contributed. It fit the tone of the game.
The game's called Chorus, and you don't have a chorus singing ever.
That's a good point.
I'll give you that, but that's the whole chorus though. Is them in chorus. They attack in chorus essentially. They murder.
They attack the Chorvs
They murder billions of people in Chorvs
together.
together in Chorvs. So maybe that's why. But man, maybe that's what it was. They just all gather around the planet and they just sing so loud and terrible that it just destroys the planet in Chorvs.
But it is weird because there's numerous times where people are talking about hearing a song. Like, I can hear the void. Like, there's this song. But, like, you're not really getting much. And it's just like, oh, this is a little disappointing. But I will say, I think the voice acting is decent.
Yeah, it's just the writing doesn't back it up. That's really the biggest
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it overall. Again, I know you guys don't like deep, broody Nara there. I couldn't care less. I think she did a fine job acting or voice acting. I think Forsa was good. I think all of the characters were well done. They just weren't saying anything of interest.
I found Nara's face to be a little weird sometimes. Like, some of the emotions I felt like weren't captured right, and her animations were a little wonky.
Yeah.
She's always looked
I
angry.
saw it. I didn't finish it. I watched the
And sad.
ending. And I agree. Like, there were certain scenes that I was just like, that didn't do 100% of it.
Yeah.
There, but
I thought they did a
But overall-
fantastic job with her eyes. Like
Yeah.
in the cutscenes, it didn't cross over into that like creepy level, and they were like, there was just some of them, the scenes that were actually just like, I was like, wow, like that was
What about
that
her
was what I
teeth?
noticed.
You got lost in her eyes.
I did. Well, there was one of
You
them
didn't notice the teeth.
I like paused real quick because I don't know, one of the kids was doing something, and so I paused it, and it was on the cutscene, and it was just her like looking up at something, and I was just like, oh wow, they did a really good job with her eyes. I know,
It's so dreamy.
it did. So dreamy.
Keith likes those dark, brooding girls.
overall, I liked the look of her, though.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think, like, they did a good job with her. And
The spacesuit looked cool. The ship looked awesome.
I was going to say, what do you think about, like, the spaceships and the temples and stuff?
So, okay, a small detail that I really liked. I don't know if you guys noticed, but anytime your spaceship talked, there was a glowing blue light on the top of your ship that was, like, mimicking its voice. Did you guys ever notice that?
Do you think I noticed something like that?
So anytime, Forza was talking, a little light was kind of shining on the top of the ship that was representing his voice. I thought that was a really kind of interesting touch.
Yeah, I
But
didn't notice that
no.
at all.
But I thought the ship was cool. But complaining about the ships, though, why did every civilian ship look the same? Every single one was driving that same looking cruiser. That got irritating. Like, the lack of variety when it came to the civilian ships was really annoying.
They all had a 1987 Toyota Corolla.
But that's honestly kind of what it was. It was like the Toyota Corolla of spaceships. It was super kind of generic looking.
They
It
need
was
a
just
Toyota
like, come
thon
on.
in space.
That's what this whole game's actually about. The cult's trying to get to Toyotathon.
That's what you really find out. The cult of Toyotathon.
But the enemy ships, like, they varied. They actually had a good, like, decent amount of, like, different ships. But it's just like civilian ships? No. Just the same kind of generic looking thing.
Yeah. It's a valid point.
But, like, the environments themselves, like you were saying, Liz, the temples I thought were cool because they were very geometric. Mm-hmm. Like, it very much was like, I don't know. The environments themselves were kind of the same, though. You're doing a lot of going through asteroids. Sometimes it's an icy asteroid. You know, sometimes it's kind of a darker, you know, tar-looking asteroids. But all the environments themselves kind of look the same. It wasn't until the end where you finally got to, like, a metropolis. And it was like, oh, this is kind of a cool area. But, yeah, I thought the environments were kind of samey.
Well, I mean, one thing I did like as far as, like, aesthetic was when you fought the Void, which, I don't know what your thoughts were on that fight, or I'm guessing.
Oh, the boss fight?
I was gonna say, I think there might be one more boss fight that I could figure that I didn't get to, but I don't know. I liked the like traversal through the arms, and and like various points in the game where it does that too, where it puts you into these like tight knit areas, and it really puts you on.
And you got to go fast.
Yeah, like speed and navigation. And those were some of the hardest moments, for me at least, but I think also some of the most fun. It almost like they weren't nearly as long, stressful, or difficult, but like almost just shades of Ori in those like chase scenes and stuff like that. So, or vibes of Ori, I guess I should say. So I liked those a lot.
I agree with that.
And I thought
because a couple moments when you're in the temple, you're being chased by a monster that you cannot kill. And it'll essentially kill you if you touch it. So it's just like, gotta go fast, quickly go through the temple.
Yeah, I had to redo that a couple times. That was annoying. I was like, where do I go? Because I panicked, you know, as I do.
But I also want to mention, too, that this game is pretty good on xCloud. I found some of the saves to be... every mission, every like side quest and main mission usually are pretty quick. Like, you're usually looking between like 15 minutes or so. And some of the checkpoints aren't that great, but luckily since the missions are so quick, like if you're playing xCloud and you have to stop, like you're not going to lose a lot of progress, but it does have a pretty decent autosave. So I actually played this game 90% on xCloud this week. I did mostly on xCloud, and it worked very well. The only thing that kind of stinks is the text is a little small. So if you're trying to read what the perks are for some of the weapons, it can be a little difficult if you're playing on xCloud. But overall, it worked very well. I highly do not recommend this game. This game does offer touch controls for xCloud, and I do not recommend that.
Oh, that feels
I don't know.
awful.
Oh my gosh. I tried, because once I did it by accident, I was like, oh, this game actually has touch controls. Oh man. I mean, like I said, it's a third-person space shooter, and like you are supposed to be drifting, doing these abilities, aiming your shots. Oh, it is not fun on touch controls.
Yeah, and by
like
the
it's
time
a challenge.
you get all the skills and you need to use them all, that could be a nightmare. But
yeah.
One thing I will say is that the autosave, or I don't want to say lack thereof, but not being great, actually bailed me out, because for whatever reason, and I think it had something to do with quick resume, my game was doing this weird glitch where like cutscenes would cut the audio out. I would watch everything. Well,
oh yeah, that happened to you, Liz, didn't it?
Yeah, and so
a cutscene cut the audio out.
So what happened though is I ended up beating the Void, the boss there, and then I went to the next area, and my game just completely locked up, and so I restarted it, and I had to fight the Void all over again. Which honestly, I mean, it's really not that difficult of a fight once you actually figure out what's going on. It's pretty straightforward. But I fought it again. But what had happened was I didn't get the achievement for beating the Void the first time. But when I went back, because I had to reload, thankfully beat him, and I got it the second time. Because I would have been pretty upset if I didn't get that achievement when it would have been two games in a row? No. Two games recently where a story mission was not given to me. So
yeah, the achievements overall, I think I would recommend this game for achievement hunters. They're all mostly story driven. There's a couple where they challenge you a little bit, but they're very easy to do. So this game was a lot of fun to kind of play through and get the achievements. I haven't beaten it yet, and I think I'm at like 675.
I don't know what you're at.
You're at 695 with 34 achievements. Keith, 565 with 25 achievements, and I'm at 105 with 9 achievements out of 42.
Yeah, the achievements really don't start like giving them to you until about halfway through the game. Like I noticed I was playing a lot and it wasn't doing too much, but then about like halfway through the game, it was like every story mission, achievement. And I was like, all right. So there's a couple achievements that are very difficult to get because, another gameplay element we forgot to mention is the game also kind of rewards how you're playing. So if you like to drift and kill enemies, you actually get masteries and it actually will improve your overall character. So how you're playing can also work, but you're supposed to essentially master every mastery, which that's a lot of work.
I do wish they changed up the skills on those a little bit where it wasn't just like a increasing number every time, but again, minor, right?
Yeah, I agree though. But yeah, let's get into our final thoughts here. So, Keith, why don't you go first?
So if you would
tell us about Chorvs.
Yeah, if you had asked me for like a no information overview of Chorvs, I would have told you, I don't know, Space Girl Go Shoot maybe, because that's kind of what it looks like.
Space Girl Cry.
Yeah, wouldn't have been thrilled about it. I was hesitant to really pick this game up. I think I was still hooked on a little bit of Civilization, maybe rage losing at Overwatch, as I do. But I started playing it and it grew on me so much more than I really would have thought that it would have. And I think the thing that for me is it's just a pure fun gameplay. The story's fine-ish, and that's, I guess, high praise coming from me, but there's nothing great about it. The characters are boring, the dialogue is boring, but the gameplay is just so much fun. And if you're not typically into like flying games or anything like that, this, I won't say it will change your mind on them, but I think it will give you an experience that you're just not used to having with the style. So I highly recommend checking this out. I don't know if it's like a AAA studio. I think there's a big studio that made this, but I don't know. The graphics were great.
Deep Silver's kind of middle.
I really honestly can't think of a lot that I didn't like about it. I solid 990. Yeah, on the nose.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was very excited to play this. I heard some people say that it was a lot of fun. I was interested in it because, like I said, I have growing up, I loved space shooter games, and I feel like there's just not many out there because, they can be kind of repetitive. But I agree with Keith. Like this game, just every time the gameplay just added something new, I just was roped right back in. Every time I was like, I'm getting a little stagnant with it, I was like, new ability. This is awesome. And yeah, the story is interesting. It's, it keeps you relatively engaged, but it's a bit lore heavy. Once they start talking about different roles in the cult and stuff like that, you kind of get lost, but it doesn't really matter in the end. You just know you're a character with a dark past and you're trying to right the wrongs and stop the evil. That's kind of it. But it, the dialogue between her and her ship were still interesting. The ship was the most interesting character. Yeah, I just had a lot of fun. Like, even though the side missions were very repetitive, I just loved shooting bad guys. And I was hoping for more epic space battles, but for what was here, I had a lot of fun with. Yeah, you should really check out Chorus. I think it's a really fun time. But I'm going to give it an 87.
I am going to give it a 77. I feel like story kind of ruined it for me. It's still a game. I just, I didn't like it as much as you guys did, but
You're just not into video games lately.
Do you know what? I haven't had a sleep in for like a week, and I was tired this week, and I just wanted to watch TV. But in all fairness, when I was playing this, I was enjoying the gameplay. So for me, it's like I actually really didn't mind playing it. It wasn't a game that took me out of that funk. You know what I mean? If there's a really good game, it doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter if I'm not in the mood for video games. I'm going to play that game. So for me, that's how I know this is kind of like a middle-of-the-road game. Still played it, but it just didn't, get me excited. Looking at Metacritic, Xbox One, TBD, and 6.2, Series X, 78 and 7.3. And then I saw this review on Polygon. You guys know that? Cass Marshall said something that I thought was interesting. The plot is full of B-movie pulp, but the game doesn't seem interested in laughing at itself. And I was just like, that's a really interesting way to look at it. You guys disagree?
Huh? You really just wanted humor.
No, I do it. Like, this person actually made me start thinking about it, where it's just like, I mean, I think that is kind of like a weird take on it. B-movie pulp. I don't know.
I can see it.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but I do kind of see where they're coming from.
I feel like, but if you think about it at the end of the day, when you're creating a sci-fi space like ship shooter game, how good of a story can you write for it? Like, the whole time you're gonna be in a spaceship shooting people. Like, I don't know. I feel like because you're not seeing these characters and developing story. I don't know. I never expect a riveting story when it comes to a game like this. I just want a good gameplay.
Nothing epic like Star Wars. Because that's the thing. I mean, we're playing Star Wars Legos a lot.
But that's you're seeing the characters and you're getting out of the ship.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
But if you're in a game where it's just all about being in the ship, how good of a story can you write?
But would you want that? Would you want a story as complex as like Star Wars if you're playing like a shooter game?
Well, I've done Star Wars like space shooter games, and even their stories are still relatively generic of like kill bad guys, blow up base. There you go. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any game suggestions, please, we'd love to hear it. You can email us at gamepassgraphic@gmail.com. Hit us up on our Facebook or Twitter at GBGBpod. Or, find us on our link tree. We have all our stuff on there, our YouTube, whatnot, Discord, and all the things. I've been your Hardcore Gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952.
I've been Keith. Andrew, this wasn't a recommendation. Was this just a you pick?
I picked it.
Man.
Yeah, I picked it.
You know what? I'm gonna rate Andrew this week. I'm gonna give you.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, I don't know. You tried to spoil the storyline at one point. You were a little bit sassy with Liz. That's gonna lose you some extra points. I think overall, I'd give you a solid 6 out of 10 on this week. I think you did a pretty good job.
It's the highest score that Liz gives me.
Look, we are not rated for that type of content. Liz, please take us out.
I'm Liz New, Gamertag, coming. I'm Dean. I don't know what just happened. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram
Puberty.
at Liz New, NewBusyW. What?
Puberty.
Puberty?
Maybe.
All right, everyone. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Hey.
Bye, guys.